Jeremy, what did your business look like and what were some of y'all's biggest frustrations?
I thought was decent money at the time, making $5, $6, $7,000 a month. I thought I was doing quite well. And then when I hit 11,000, I really felt God kind of tell me, hey, you know what? Go check the numbers. I went through all my numbers and I was like, I'm over $10,000. Mic drop. Like it changed everything. What's really changed is my whole mindset. Built my confidence to be able to charge more.
You guys were so transparent and you were like upfront and honest.
Hands down, I would have paid more because I know that's what I needed to get unstuck.
See if Jeremy jumps in, but I feel like it should just populate somewhere around here.
Studio chat. See if it shows that he's in there.
There they are.
All right.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hello.
This is our first time using this, so
Okay.
Ours
All right.
too. I told
Yeah.
them it's not Zoom, so I'm not exactly sure what to do here.
yeah, no, it's okay. It'll just be a normal conversation like always. It is recording, just so you guys know. You know,
How's the resolution look on our part? I look like kind of blurry.
no, you look good. You look good. It's going to compress everything, and this software automatically uses AI to enhance everything on the
Okay, so
back.
we got our ring light going on, and we're trying to, because I get really red, so
Trust me, I know.
I get
Well,
the worst
yeah,
lighting,
sure.
bro. I'm telling you, man.
Yeah. We're excited. I know Jackie wanted to ask how everything's been going since you've been busy. So I'll let her ask a couple questions before we get into the main ones.
Sure.
No? Okay. well,
Tell us whatever you want to tell us before
Yeah.
we start.
well, I guess I'll kick it off with a question. So Jeremy, like take us back where you were 6 months ago. What did your business look like and what were some of y'all's biggest frustrations?
Okay, so 6 months ago, I guess pretty much it's been pretty consistent for the last three and a half years, where business just trickles in. I'll have some, what I thought was decent money at the time. Making $5, $6, $7,000 a month was more than I was making as an Uber driver, and so I thought I was doing quite well. And then when I hit 11,000, I was blown away because I actually didn't even realize, because I didn't have a KPI, I wasn't really keeping track. And I remember just feeling really depressed about business being so slow. And I really felt God kind of tell me, hey, you know what? Go check the numbers. And so I went through all my numbers and I was like, I added up everything I made for that month. I'm like, holy crap. I'm over $10,000. And I'm like, okay, let me calculate how much time it took me to how many hours I worked that month. And I only worked about a 40 hours, maybe give or take, throughout the month. It was a few hours here, a few hours there. And I was like, no way. There's no way I made it. And I would go back again. Let me check the numbers, make sure I added right. I'm like, yeah, I'm over almost $11,000 in about a 40-hour month. And so I saw it at the potential. Okay, you can make some decent, good money, but then it just seemed like it's just very inconsistent. I wasn't really getting a lot of consistent leads, and I was charging roughly about $700 to $800 a load. $700 if it was curbside. If it wasn't, it was about $800. But very rarely I would get these, big jobs. I always do a lot of minimum pickups, a lot of quarter loads, just little small jobs. And so yeah, I would say I was like, wow, okay, 11,000, that's a good number to hit. And then when we started the coaching, you're like, okay, hey, you need to raise your prices, start implementing these things as far as like quit doing, quotes over the phone, having a price sheet. All that was just like my drop. Like it changed everything. And when I had my first, when I beat that record of 11,000, hit almost 20 at 18.5, I was just like, no way, dude. This is just, and I still sorry.
I was going to say, what was wifey's take like going into this 6 months ago? Like, what did you feel like during that time?
I felt like we've been, in business for going on 4 years. And I think I always knew there was a lot of potential, but he was, like he said it himself, he was kind of living the rock star lifestyle, waking up, not late, but like I'd get up and go to work and, he's awesome. He'd make me my coffee, but he'd be like, back in bed and I don't have to go see a customer till like 9 or 10, or he could schedule his business whenever, and it was very easygoing, like I know he worked. I know his work ethic. I mean, like he mentioned earlier, he was Ubering before, and he would Uber like, late into the evening, sometimes, 2, 3 a.m. in the morning. So I know he works hard, but it was very, not having a boss, and even himself not having that, like, he did have the I'm the boss mentality,
Yeah.
but there was no like schedule. There was no accountability, and he just kind of did what he did. And, yeah, like we'd have great months, for us, it was like, okay, yeah, it's better than what we thought, but it was inconsistent. And like, I know I have a set schedule for the most part as a teacher, and he just kind of like, he wouldn't. So I think what I noticed, the biggest difference since he started coaching, there was more kind of like this fire was lit, and it does help to have like that accountability. And I know for some people, they don't like it, but it really does help, and I think it helped him, and sometimes it kind of like he feel a little pressure because it's like, oh man, Tanner's going to ask, oh man, Jackie's going to, you know, but it was a good thing
Yeah,
because
it's a positive pressure.
it motivated him,
Yeah.
so before, yeah, he was he was working and doing, I wouldn't say his best, I think his best for, for what he knew back then, but looking at now, it's like, whoa, like he knows there's a difference.
Yeah. Sky's the limit, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
Okay, that's a noise. I was like, what is it? Is it us?
I guess we're just getting some feedback on all that. Let me see if I
Yes.
turn it down a little
He
bit.
was about to get mad because I spent $50 on that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely went down.
All right. So before working with us, what had y'all tried to try to get to where you are now? Was it other YouTube videos that you were watching?
Yeah. Did you try anything? I don't know if we really discussed that or not.
I guess, starting from scratch. I mean, I guess my inspiration did come originally. I would binge watch, Sonoma Stronghold. I'd watch their videos like crazy, and, and
Shout
I
out
would,
to
huh? Yeah, definitely. I had some good conversations. Not want to say long conversations with Matt, but I'd hit him up and pick his brain. Ask him questions about my pricing, and he was always very welcoming. To answer my questions, and they definitely would encourage me to keep going. But I had to stop watching people, man, because I felt like I was constantly comparing myself to other people. When I'm slow, my phone's not ringing, and I see everyone's crushing it, and I'm just like, what the heck is wrong with me, man? Like, what am I doing wrong? I've got an amazing setup. My truck is wrapped and my trailer's wrapped. I mean, I look professional, man. Like, I'm like, why is my phone not ringing? I park on a busy street, and I think, organically you can only grow so much, and that's what I'm realizing, that, going into 4 years, that organic will take you so far. But if you want to scale, you want to get over that hump, you're going to have to spend money to make money. That's where I've always been very scared I've always been scared of debt, especially, when I don't have a consistent source of income. And I never want to ever feel, the burden of my decisions, so I've always been very conservative as far as like, okay, let me, we bought the truck that we spent 40K on the brand new on a brand new Tundra. And then from there on, everything we made was always paid with cash. We did finance the trailer. I paid it was a $15,000 trailer. I paid off in 6 months.
Yeah.
I mean, I just was aggressive with paying off debt, and I still am. We get some setbacks, like our hybrid battery on our Prius is going out. That's going to cost us a pretty penny.
Yeah.
It cost me $2,000 to put new brakes on my trailer because the whole system was shot. And I'm like, man, all these setbacks, man. I'm like, I'm trying to climb this ladder, and I keep getting knocked down a few steps. What's really changed is my whole mindset, dude. Like, my mindset was more of, I was running a hustle, or it was like a side hustle versus like a legitimate company. And I'm still not quite there. I'm still struggling with keeping up with my KPIs. I just, numbers, I hate numbers, dude. It's just tedious, dude. And I know it's important, and I hope I'll get there. But when I get home from work, man, the last thing I want to do is think about numbers, dude.
You made huge strides. I think the one thing that I think is really important to acknowledge in what you said is that when you spend a lot of time consuming content, then you are you're leaving out a lot of energy to create, right? And when we say create, it doesn't necessarily mean content. It means create work for yourself, create, go out and create opportunities. So when you stop doing that and you just focused on the goal, which was to grow your junk removal company, that's exactly what you did. And the reality is, Jeremy, we just gave you the tools. You took it and ran with it.
Yeah.
And I think you brought up something that was really important to note. You and your wife are very good with your money, I have to say. Out of all the people that we've worked with, you guys are very good with your money. And that brings me into my next question was like, what made you decide, you guys to collectively decide to invest in the mentorship because you are so picky about the choices you make?
So going back to, like I said, being scared of debt, and I was looking at like with the new Tundra, I mean the new truck we bought, 65,000 in debt with that. I still owe 10,000. At that time, I still owe 10,000 on my Tundra. I'm paying double the insurance now, and the thought of raising the debt ceiling another 3,000 scared the crap out of me. And honestly, again, like I said, we've always been paying everything with cash for the most part, and so we were literally broke. I paid all the bills, and so the business had no cash flow, but we did have credit cards, obviously. And so to be honest, bro, I wasn't on board. I was gonna tell you, you know what, bro, it's just not the right time.
Yeah.
But it was her that says, babe, you need this. This is what you need.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a great investment. It's a tax write-off. I think this is what you need. And I think that confirmation coming from her, knowing that she's the most frugal one.
Yeah.
I'm the more adventurous one. She's very by the book, very frugal. She's the one that's teaching me how to be more responsible with my money. So when she said go for it, and I'm like, $3,000, are you serious? Like, what if this doesn't work out? Because I hired, that guy I told you about, and for maybe 2 months I hired an advertiser, and it almost bled me out because I spending $1,500 a month, I wasn't in a place to take that kind of a risk, you
Yeah.
know? And so I was like, all right, $3,000. All right, let's just do it, and hands down is the best decision ever, And yeah, I got on this high during July where I was cranking it. I think I did like 35 jobs in July. And that was like I said, I was like, everything changed, man. I mean, me as a person was changing. I was getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I was hitting the gym. I was like, I'm gonna level up, not just in my business, but I'm gonna level up in this area, because what is it for me to be leveled up as a great entrepreneur, but yet I feel like crap. I'm unhealthy. I eat like crap. I'm getting older. I'm pushing 50. And if I'm going to be in this game for the long haul, I have got to take care of myself, And so that inspired me to like, all right, I'm going to hit the gym, and not just the gym, but just getting up early and starting my day off right. Because before, like I said, I was living the rock star life. I'm like, I'll sleep until 8. My first job, I book it at 9. I'll get there. I'll go make $500 and I'll come home and relax,
Yeah.
but I was like, man, I'm just getting complacent, man. I'm just like, this is not where I want to be, and it wasn't just, I can justify like, hey, I mean, we're making decent money for the two of us, and we live a very comfortable life. We own our own home. We've got 2 brand new trucks, and life is good. But I was like, you know what? I think God's calling us higher, like we gotta, we didn't just start this business to be mediocre,
Yeah.
and just to settle for just, you know. And so when I'm talking to other haulers like Caleb and other guys I become good friends with, and they're telling me their numbers, I'm like, dude, no way, bro. You're just down the street from me, man. You're making
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
and then seeing you guys, I mean, you guys are a huge inspiration in your first year to hit over 200K, like 2.5, that's impressive,
Yeah.
It's like,
We did 111 in the last 90.
dude, that's just, see,
That's awesome.
congratulations to you guys, man.
So wifey, so you're the frugal one. What made you say like these guys are going to be good for Jeremy?
I think honestly, I went
It's
into
okay
it
if it's a gut feeling. It's okay.
when he told me that he wanted me in the meeting when you guys were going to meet. I was like, okay. And in my head, I'm like, I don't want to do this, but I'm very grateful that Jackie was there as well and giving her input. And obviously she's a partner, you guys are partners in this, and she's there and she knows about the business and just all the questions that you were asking, both of you. And the things that you guys were sharing and what you guys do, and all the, like, I know he works hard. That's not the issue. I think it's the systems and tools that you're using to
Mm.
help your business grow. Like,
Yeah.
those are the things that I felt like he doesn't have. He may know of some of them, but he doesn't have them. He doesn't have someone there like walking him, through it. And so just hearing everything you guys did and that you do for your business, and the fact that yes, you guys have been very successful your first year, I just felt like I believe in him. And yes, whether it was 3 or more, like, I felt like this is an investment in him. And
Yeah.
this was going to push him. Like,
Mm.
when you give someone, if you just give someone a gift, it's like, yeah, okay, cool. You gave me $100, whatever. Like, I may show up, I may not. You bought the tickets for me. I don't know. But
Yeah.
when it's coming from out of their pocket and they paid for it, they're going to make more of an effort to show up because it's
Yeah.
their
100%.
money. And I
100%.
feel like for us, like, because he knows, like, he doesn't want to add any stress, onto my plate. He knows that if we invested this money, he would have to show up.
Yeah.
Like,
And
that's
he
just
did.
who he is.
And he did. I do, we need to get some updated KPIs from you, Jeremy, but in your very first month, you 6x'd your return on investment on the $3,000 spend. So you went from 3 grand and made 18. I don't know about anybody else, but I would take
18.5, bro.
that.
Get it
Yeah,
straight.
55. So 6.5. So it's like, I would take that bet any day, every day. But, I think Jackie's going to ask the next question.
Yeah. Well, first off, we're grateful that you guys trusted us with
Yeah.
that.
We're proud of you, both of you, honestly, because I know it's a shift too. When that mental shift came for Jeremy, I'm sure it was probably a little bit jarring,
Scary, too.
right?
Well, it's funny. It's like this all happened during my summer break. So I wasn't at school. So
Yeah.
I'm used to being the one that gets up early in the morning and goes to work. Like I said, he makes the coffee, but then goes back to bed. And this time it was like I'm sleeping in and he's getting up and I'm like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
why are you up so early? He's like, I'm awake. I gotta go. So, he'd let me sleep in. Sometimes I'd get up with him, but most of the time he was just getting up on his own. And that was like, this is weird.
Who
Like,
is this guy?
usually if I'm off, like, any excuse to like sleep in with me,
Yeah.
he's there. And the fact that he wasn't was like, wow, like, this is different. This is definitely different.
Well, that means Jeremy loves you. That's
Yeah.
great.
What was the first thing y'all recall working on with us together?
What do we help change, Jeremy?
I guess, the things I already mentioned were just stop.
Price adjustments.
Yeah, increasing my prices.
Mhm. Yeah.
I thought, everyone's charging this. Let me come in a couple $100 short, maybe 150 short, and dominate the markets, right? I'm gonna take all the work. It's just me. I got no overhead. And it didn't seem to work out. And then I have people telling me you need to raise your prices. Like, that doesn't make no sense. Like, I'm not getting any work, and then you tell me to raise my prices. Like, that's like an oxymoron to me. Like, that doesn't make sense. And so, I mean, like I said, I would have people telling me, and I just like, yeah, whatever. You just, maybe you're just telling me this so I won't get any more work. You'll take all the work. But I think, increasing my prices, it built my confidence. Because I remember I went to a job. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna charge them. Matt Vick was, I'm gonna hit him with that price, right?
Yeah.
And I hit him with that price, and they're like, okay. And I was like, that easy? I'm like, really? Like, in my head, I'm thinking, like, really? Like, you're gonna pay me $900 for this load? And so yeah, I built my confidence to be able to charge more. And then the second one was the biggest game changer is stop. I just got lazy. I mean, I was doing, quotes over pictures, and yeah, I mean, I got a lot of business from that, and it worked, but I did lose a lot of jobs because people are like, okay, thank you. I lose all leverage. I have, like, they take my price and they're going to go shop around, and they're going to get the next guy who's, yeah, I'll do it for $50, $100 cheaper. So what's great is that even though now I'm doing, in-person or on-site quotes, I can read the people, like the one I'm doing right now, this hoarder clean out.
Yeah.
I knew when I gave her that price of, well, it's curbside. So I said $800. And she's like, I could just tell she had kind of paused. it's going to be like 7, 8 loads, and it's going to be a big chunk of money. And so I said, "Look, I'm willing to do this. I'm going to give you a multi-load discount. I can go as low as 750 per load, because I knew it was going to be a big payout. It was going to be, a minimum of 6 loads, but now going into it, it's probably going to be more like 8 loads. And so I knew, I did the math, and I'm just like, today, like it's an ongoing project. So today I did 2 loads. Tomorrow I'll do 2 loads. So, I worked, I got slowed down a lot because the mom who was, in that owned the house or whatever and owned all the junk, because the kids were trying to clear things out, and she was slowing me down. I literally come with a big old cart full of junk, and she's sifting through it, pulling stuff out, and leaves me a half a cart. I'm like, all right, this is gonna be a long time. It took me, with 2 guys, it took us 7 hours to do 2 truckloads, man, and 2 trailer loads, which I can normally do 3 to 4 in
Yeah.
7 hours.
Yeah,
But
that's how it goes. Sometimes you come across those jobs, and but it's good that you're recognizing that you have the ability to like feel the customers out now. Well, you can't do that over the phone. And
right,
like you said, they take as soon as you send that photo or you send that price to their photo, they have that leverage. And you're just like, nah, I'm going to go find the cheapest guys. So would you say that aha moment was recognizing that you could actually price higher and charge more for what you're doing?
Mhm.
absolutely, and absolutely.
Good.
I think I mean, obviously the customer can read you. They know whether you're a shyster, or you're just pulling numbers out of your head. But when you hit them with that price sheet, and you look professional, and it's like, hey, this is what I charge. And to just be quiet. That's the thing, is I'm always so quick to like, I'm like, just to be quick to like hurry up and kill the awkward silence. Or like, it's like kind of like me when I go fishing. Sometimes I just like, it's like I jerk too fast, man. I get too excited, and I overreact. And instead of just saying, all right, let me just calm down, hit them with that price, and let them chew on that. And then if they come at me saying, it's a little too much, and then now I have the opportunity to say, let's negotiate. And sometimes it's still, you try to negotiate, and still it's a no deal. And
And
those,
it's just not your job. We had one of those today. We had a few of those today, actually. So I know the next question I'm going to ask is about like a specific strategy that's had a bigger impact on your business. And I know the one that we implemented that last month, so I'm going to touch on it real quick. The biggest thing is that we were just talking about with Jeremy is the average job size, right? Once that average job size starts trending upwards, the amount of revenue you have coming in goes up. A lot of times people get excited. They're like, oh, I need more leads. I need more leads. It's like, no, you need to close the leads that you actually have coming in. And then you need to close them at an appropriate price. We're not out here price gouging, right, Jeremy?
right,
We're not charging people more than what is appropriate, but we do need to charge what is appropriate.
right.
Right. Now, I had opened you up to subbing out work or having other haulers come in on jobs. Can we
Yes.
just talk about how that played a role in your revenue the month you did 18K, so you can just give them a rough rundown on what that looks like?
Yeah, so my buddy Caleb from 6P, I met him at the dump, and kind of real quick side story on that. I was at the scrap yard before that, and one of his brothers was dumping some scrap, and their trailer battery went dead or something, and so they're trying to jump in. They're having a hard time doing it. And I just said, "Hey, bro, here." I gave him my little portable jump starter, and so he ended up telling his brother, "Oh, I met this white dude. Like, he's from Tired of Junk, man. He helped us out, and blah blah blah." So when Caleb saw me at the dump, he's like, "Oh, there's that guy my brother was telling me about." So he waited till I got out of the dump, and he flagged me down, and he just like, "Bro, you look so legit. This and this and that. Really impressed by your setup." And so we just became friends. And so when I landed this 7-load job, I was like, there's no way I can tackle this by myself. It'll take me all week, and I won't be able to take on any more jobs if I do that. So I hit him up. I said, "Hey, let's collab on this job. We'll do a 60-40 split." And he's like, "Let's do it." And he brought in 3 of his guys. He brought in his truck and trailer, and we knocked out that full house clean out in a day. And I walked out with like $2,500 in my pocket after all expenses paid. I made 2,500, and his guys were the backbone of that job. They pile drive through that job like robots, man. It was just like, whoa, let me get these guys a bonus, you know?
And before, like, that probably wasn't even on your radar, right? Like, if
Well,
you just had a big job, you were just gonna tough it out, right?
I probably would have toughed it out. Yeah, I would have toughed it out, or I would have, try to bring someone in that I know from my church or family. But looking back at it now, that was a really big job. And it took, let's see, there was 5 of us, and it took us 9 hours to do 7 loads.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
crazy.
with
Do you
5 of
think
us.
do you think you would have done the job if you
You
didn't
know what?
know
Knowing me, I think I would have, just because I like the challenge. But this is where I get a little insecure with the customer. Sometimes I'll take a worker with me to a job, even though I don't need the help, just because I feel like it looks better as a business. Like, if I show up to your house and you're going to pay me $2,000, and you're like, in your head, I'm thinking you're going to probably try to justify that price. And you're like, this dude's making 2 grand off of us. But if they see that, well, he's got workers with him, there's more expenses, it makes me feel like the customer is going to, you know, value my service more. Yeah. I don't know if that makes sense. So yeah, I mean, I love the fact that you guys, I mean, you're pretty much at my fingertips, I mean, you guys are on speed dial if I have any questions or concerns, or just being able to celebrate my wins. I think that's just huge. Just being able to text you, hey bro, I just landed a $4,500 job, or hey, I just broke a record, and just, I love being able to talk numbers with
Yeah,
people without feeling like I'm bragging. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I don't,
100%.
because sometimes I feel like I am. Like part of me is like, I'm not. I don't. I may come across like I'm bragging, but I'm just more like excited. Like, wow, I'm actually doing this. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, I made almost 20 grand in a month, but I don't live that way.
right.
So we don't live like we're rich, or
Yeah,
we're making 20 grand a month, but I'm excited to share that, because I'm like, dude, I started this business from scratch. And, I love to tell people that, hey, I brag about you guys. I'm like, dude, I hired a coach, man. Almost double my revenue,
yeah,
and then people are like, wow, that's so cool that you're even investing in yourself, and I've inspired other entrepreneurs that I know, like, maybe I need to invest in myself, like, they feel stuck in their industry. And so I feel like by sharing my story and sharing my numbers in a way, and not to brag, but to encourage and inspire.
yeah. That's why we share our numbers, and it's funny because we don't have anyone that we feel like we can share with. Like, I share it with you when you ask, but I hate when you ask sometimes because I feel like I'm bragging. The funny thing is in junk removal, we're very like low to middle of the pack. I know what other companies are doing that are way beyond us, but I also know where a lot of people are starting too. And so we're like, we try to just be transparent about the numbers because like we didn't have any understanding of business numbers to begin with, and like the best way to learn is like the last video we put out where we broke down our P&L, like, hey, this is what it looks like, kind of thing. So if you were going to talk to I know you said that you brag a lot about us, and we really do appreciate it because, and now in today's day and age, people pay for college, right? You pay to go to college to make more money.
Right.
So if you own a business, why would you not pay money to someone who's where you're at to learn? That's my thought process.
Yeah.
But for someone who's thinking about the mentorship, and I kind of want to hear from both of you guys since, it's a joint decision, but maybe they're worried about the investment. What would you guys tell them?
I think first I'd want to kind of like what you guys asked us, like, where would you be if you did this 5 months from now or 3 months? I forgot what you guys asked, the timeline, and where would you be if you didn't do this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that really was for me one of the key questions. Like, if we don't do it, we're not going to be anywhere. Like, we're going to be here again in this, and it wasn't bad, but it wasn't what I knew, I believed it could be. So I
Yeah.
think that would be the same type of question that I would ask someone, like, okay, if you don't do anything, if nothing changes, where will you be? And will you be okay with that?
Right.
But if you do take that leap of faith, you step out and you invest in yourself, where could you be? And getting them to think about what the possibilities are. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Really
That's
quick,
great.
I want to share something on that goes along with this. So when I first started 3.5, 4 years ago, I met this young kid. He was in high school, dude, and he's up in, Central California. And this kid was killing it, man. Like he was 16, 17 years old, junior, senior in high school. And him and we would talk on Instagram and I would encourage him, man, you were killing it, bro. Like he was just like this dude and then I think like that was his niche because he was he was a kid, right? And so
Yeah.
people want to support, right? And people want to support that. And so, and then all of a sudden, like he graduated and I just, I just continue to encourage him to like keep going at it. And then it just weird. He just kind of fell off. Like, we stopped communicating. And so, a couple years have passed. He's 20 now. And he just hit me up out of nowhere. And he's like, bro, I'm so stuck, like, because he, he was killing it with, his numbers. He was doing jobs and he was booking jobs. He was doing great social media content, but something along his path, he got stuck.
Yeah.
And so I got an opportunity to kind of share my testimony with him.
Yeah.
And it really inspired him. And because he went from just being a kid with a truck and a trailer and making killer money to now he's an adult and he's like, dude, I need a business license. I need this. I need that. To make it official. And when it was clouding his mind and he's just like, dude,
It was overwhelming.
he was just overwhelmed by the process of making his business legit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I just gave him the baby steps of, go down to City Hall, get your business license, go down to the bank, get a bank account, open up a business account. I gave him all the baby steps of what he needs to do to get started. And it
Yeah.
was just like, it went from a guy who felt like, you know, he was just like doom and gloom to like, bro, thank you so much, man. Like I lit a fire under him.
Yeah.
Oh, and so, yeah, man, I think your guys' coaching has kind of helped me to kind of help someone else, even though I'm not really coaching him, but I just gave him some basic advice and just kind of shared, well, this is what I'm doing now. I hired a coach and man, things have really taken off.
And that's
So
why we love what we do, because when you pour into somebody, they're going to take that and pour that into somebody else. And thankfully we're doing it in the right way, right? So we're providing people guidance. And so, if someone was going to ask you, Jeremy, like they're worried about that investment, what would you say to them?
I would just tell them, I don't know. I just think I would just say, you just got to have faith and believe and
I think if you put forth the effort, you're going to get that
yeah.
back and more.
Yeah. I just
You
think
know?
if you're given the tools and you apply it, I believe it's going to work for anybody.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of having the right tools and then also having the right mindset. Because if you don't believe in yourself, you don't believe that you can do it, you're going to only go as far as, sorry if I keep shaking, you're only going to go as far as what your mind's going to allow you to, it's like the gym, right? It's like you're trying to lift that weight and your mind gives out before your body does.
Yeah.
It's like our mind gives out first before, on that bench press and you're like, oh, I can't do it. And you give up. But it's like, no, I'm going to put this up, And so I think having the right mindset and having the right tools, I believe you can't go wrong.
But I think
Yeah.
also one key thing though is because there's plenty of people, everyone's an expert on Instagram,
true.
on TikTok, on Facebook, on whatever other platforms there are out there. But I feel like you guys were so transparent and you were like upfront and honest and just like, everything he shared about you guys prior to me meeting you guys, like, yeah, they're posting their numbers. Like they get some hate from others because they do it, but this is what they're, like you guys were like, this is us. This is what we're doing. We're not some shady people. Like this is what's happened. Like this is what you could actually do. So I think it's important not just to take advice, mentorship, coaching from anyone. It has to be someone who you see like they are either a few steps ahead of me or many, but they're legit. And I want to imitate what they're doing because I also want to be successful like them. I think that's a big part, not just any coach, but you have to find the right fit, and people that are ahead.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. No, and definitely the right fit. I think people they need to take more time and be meticulous about who they invest with and what they invest in and how they invest in themselves. So I guess the final question is, if you guys were presented with the same opportunity again, would you take it? If I said, hey, it's going to be X amount for you guys to work with us, would you guys do it again?
Hands down, bro. Like I told you that month in July, I said, bro, I would have paid $5,000 for this training. Because, bro, I mean, when I spent that $3,000, put it on the credit card, I paid that credit card off that week. It was like, soon as boom, the week 2 of July came in and I had 16 jobs in that week. And it was just like, boom. It was just like, I didn't even miss that money. It wasn't, it was just, yeah. So hands down, I would have paid more. I would have paid the price, what it took, because I know that's what I needed to get unstuck.
That concludes all the questions. So I think I'm going to stop the recording. That way we can just talk like normal people.
Okay.